December 15th, 2017. Welcome to the Philly podcast. Now, um, like I said, it's been in previous videos, it's been very hard to be able to do a podcast. Now, today is a good opportunity to get one done, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I wanted to bring up a couple things in term with that. The podcast going forward. Um, the plan that I hope to go by here is I want to probably do a podcast every week, middle of the week, probably like a Wednesday, Thursday type of deal, where I just pretty much bring up some stuff, do my NFL picks, stuff like that. Um, I think that would be pretty, in the middle of the week, something good. Um, so yeah, so I mean that's what I hope to go by. Um, and yeah, I mean I might, and also come going forward, maybe starting next week, um, I'll I mean I know it's very late in the season to do it, but start to do some Eagles pre and post game videos, not podcasts. I mean, what I mean by podcast is like, getting this mic thing set up, getting the interface ready to go, plugging it in the computer. I'm talking about videos, like like little update videos like that I record on my phone. So, I hope everyone out there knows what the difference is between that and that. Um, Probably 95% do. I mean, I don't know. Um, so yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of get out of the way before um, we move into what we are going to. For a couple things that I want to, obviously, a few things I want to break up. I mean, I want to talk about the Flyers first. I want to bring up, and then talk about the Flyers winning 5 straight games, and then we'll bring we'll get into the news today about the Phillies. Um, going out and making a couple of transactions today. With Freddie Galvis and Carlos Santana. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the where this whole infield's going to shape up, um, and we will break down and predict this weekend's Eagles game, which is supposed to be very interesting. As Nick Foles takes over this team, and with they are 1 win away from taking a week off in the playoffs and watching everybody play in the divisional round. So we'll get started with these Philadelphia Flyers. And I'm not going to lie here. I haven't been watching a lot of the Flyers this year because when I was watching them, it was disgusting. They lost 10 straight games. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I couldn't watch this team. They were so bad. Hackstall, they have so much talent. You look at this team. They have a lot of good talent. They have Claude Giroux. They have Wayne Simmons. They have Philippa. They have Goss to spare. They have some pretty good players. But the fact that they lost 10, I mean, I just couldn't do it, and that's when I kind of bailed on them. Now that I see them win 5 straight games, it starts to draw me back in. I'll most likely be watching the next game. I'm only mentioning the Flyers. I'm not really getting in depth. I don't really know hockey, but I'm gonna get you all back in. Hackstall, you better not let me down here. You better not let me down. They better not let me down. I want to see them win. I mean, this. Hopefully, this continues. Hopefully, this. They move. They keep winning. They boop up in the standings, and they definitely have the talent to. So we'll see if they can put it together in these next couple of games. That was something I only wanted to mention about the Flyers. I don't know how. Listen, guys, I don't know hockey. I watch hockey, but I don't know. I don't know in depths of the game of hockey. I'm just gonna come out and say. Um, so yeah. Um, this is a sport I know, and that's something. This is something I really want to talk about, and that's baseball. Phillies. Like I said earlier, if you come more like a couple minutes ago, um, with the transactions that they made today, uh, you know, shipping away Freddie Galvis to the San Diego Padres, and Freddie Galvis, he was a player. I mean, you knew what you were getting out of him in terms of at the plate. You weren't going to get a guy. He's like at the plate. I mean, I know I'm comparing him to a football player here, but you know what you're getting with him. You're getting like a guy. All right, he's going to hit for contact. He's a switch hitter. Um, he's nothing overpowering at the plate. He's not an easy out, but he's not like he's not a guy that the pitcher would go into the game with a plan to pitch around him. Is that type of he's not like that worrisome guy for the opposing team. He's known for his defense. He played very good defense. He's a guy that you want to have on your team. And I knew the Phillies had to make a move with him, or Cesar come, the trade deadline, because with these guys, with Kingery and Crawford coming up, you're gonna have to figure out what you want to do. With these infielders, I mean, you're gonna obviously have to throw, unless if you get a third baseman, you're gonna have to throw, you're gonna have to throw all three of them in the fire because you look at Franco. Franco is not performing. He has been ever since the second half of 2016, he's been to be honest, he has been a disappointment. He's been a disappointment. And in the beginning of last year, it was a little bit of disappointment because, and same thing with Herrera. You expected a lot out of those players. You expected them to be the leaders. You expected them to carry the team, but instead, Franco and Herrera, especially in the first half of the season, with Franco and Herrera, and then Franco just kind of continued all year. They were just lollygagging. All right, here we go. Here, I'm gonna go up to the plate, straight. With Franco, it was like home run or bust. It was like watching him the last year and a half. I think, to be honest with you, he's just a wasted talent. I shouldn't say that. He still has some time to grow and develop. He is a young player. He only made his debut 2015. But he's not a guy that I, kind of look forward to going, obviously going forward. But if he continues the same stuff, I don't see him lasting the trade deadline. That's why the Phillies are in so much talk for third baseman Machado. I'd love to see Machado here, but at the same time, I know Franco can do a lot of things, and I want to give him a chance. But we'll see. Now with this deal, it shows me that the Phillies are putting a lot of trust in J.P. Crawford to take. J.P. Crawford to take over the shortstop, playing shortstop. Now Crawford, he came up last year. We know. He, played most of the season in the minor leagues for Lehigh Valley. Did he? I don't know if he started the year in Double A. Did he? Did he start the year in Double A? Okay, no, he didn't start the year. He was playing a lot of the year in Triple A. In the pros, he had 214. 70 at bats, 8 hits. No, wait. 70 at bats, 15 hits. No homers, 6 RBIs. The guy walks. He had 16 walks. So you're getting a guy that's a little bit patient. That's patient, and you compare him to Freddie Galvis, who this past season hit 255. Freddie was, but I mean, I'm looking at all of Freddie's batting averages. You got 226, 234, 176, 263, 241, 255, lifetime 245 career hitter. Crawford, I mean, he only had 70 at bats. Freddie this past season, we know he played all 162 games. He had 608 at bats. I mean, give Crawford, close to that number of at bats, and I think, I think he'll probably produce more at the plate, because you look at his Lehigh Valley. You look at what he's done in Lehigh Valley. He had 243. Sorry, my mic just I don't know what the deal with that is. He had 243 in Lehigh Valley with yeah, there we go. I got it back. Yeah, my interface was acting up. 243 in Lehigh Valley. And then Freddie hit 255 last year, but Freddie gets more at bats and he's seeing major league pitching, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, you can't really tell. Defensively, I think Freddie's the better defensive player. Obviously, there's a lot of good defensive shortstops. I mean, the game of baseball and all these defensive shortstops, it's just unbelievable. With the Arenados and trying to figure out some other guys. But, I know Rosario just came to the Mets, but he was very good. The Phillies here are putting a lot of faith in J.P. Crawford. They're just, I think they want him to get that spot. It just seems it. And third base, if Franco doesn't perform, you're going to have to throw either Kingery or Cesar there. Cesar, I think, belongs at second base. I think Kingery will be the better fit at third. Unless if, they want to put J.P. Crawford at third. But J.P. Crawford, I see him playing shortstop. I really do. Now we get to the other transaction that was made today, and that was the Phillies acquired Carlos Santana. I think, he was a free agent. He had 34 home runs last season. 3-year deal. $1 million. So last season he had 259. He had 23 home runs last year. I thought he had 34. Okay, I might have. So he had 23 home runs. I thought he had. My apologies there. 154 games with the Indians. And he was a DH last year. Was he DH? Yeah, he was either an outfielder, first base. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he was DH, but he plays first. This, they're gonna want to put him at first base. They're gonna probably, throw him there to get a. I mean, yeah, is he a lefty? I'm trying to see if he's a lefty. I mean, he's a switch hitter. He throws right. Okay, I thought he threw left. Okay. So that's where they, I mean, they're going to probably, so for what it says here in this article by CBS, I'm sorry, I'm speaking a lot of gibberish. They think, this writer thinks that the plan is to throw Hoskins in left, put Santana at first, and then now that leaves Tommy Joseph, which I don't know what they're going to do. The thing is that this team needs a starting pitcher. They're still trying to piece out the rotation. There's only, as of right now, from what I see with this team, there's really only one pitcher that I see that on this team going forward, and that's Nola. Eichhoff, I want to see a little bit more of him. Pivetta can be very good if he is more consistent. The problem with Eichhoff, though, I think Eichhoff's a good pitcher. I think he's probably the best fit to go forward out of the other few guys besides Nola. He didn't get a lot of run support. That was Eichhoff's problem. He didn't get a lot of run support. That's why he lost so many games in the beginning of the season. And then, Pivetta was just so inconsistent. He was probably one of the most inconsistent pitchers, I'm stuttering. He's probably one of the most inconsistent pitchers I've seen. Velasquez cannot stay healthy. You need that guy playing and going in the bullpen. The guy throws so many pitches and he goes for the strikeout. You want that guy in the bullpen. Trying to think of a couple of other guys. Who else? Eflin. Yeah, Eflin. I'm not too crazy about Eflin. Sorry. Not too crazy about Eflin. Hellickson's obviously gone. They're gonna. And plus they need the bull. They need a lot. I like how the fact that they went out this week, and they got a couple bullpen guys too, because the bullpen was a big problem for us last year. Joaquin Benoit was just horrible. You go back to the Eastern game, and that was just terrible. The fact that they let they had a 6-4 lead. You can look at the Easter game. The game that kind of killed me the most was the Dodgers game. I know that was all Neris. But there's a few other games that this team could have easily closed these games out. Especially earlier in the season. So this team needs pitching some way. They need some type of pitching for this team. And they need some type of pitching. I would appreciate a starter, and I would appreciate a reliever. We need pitching. We could probably, I don't know what we can. I would appreciate. Listen, the Galvis trade, when I first heard it, when I first saw it, I'm like, who did they trade him for? And I saw P, and then this guy who was a minor league pitcher. I'm like, that's just a bad deal. I look back at that deal. I don't know. I should have said this earlier. I'm not a big fan of that Freddie Galvis trade. I'm not, because you need a starting pitcher. You need a starting pitcher. Or a reliever. And to get a minor league pitcher for a guy like Freddie Galvis, I wasn't really a big fan of that. But, like I said, they want to put a lot of faith in J.P. Crawford. So who knows? I mean, who knows what this is gonna bring? I mean, who knows? All right, so that's it for the Phillies. Where are we at with this podcast? 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, we've hit 20 minutes. All right. We'll do Eagles. I want to bring up the Sixers for a little bit, and then we'll do picks. Now, oh shoot, Travis Simeon's out for the year. Okay. Damn, I did not know that. So this weekend, the Eagles take the lovely joyride through the lovely Garden State of New Jersey, up the New Jersey Turnpike, to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Football Giants, the 2-11 New York Football Giants. Now, this is a team that has a lot. I mean, we all know. Listen. I've been watching. I think I've probably seen every NFC East game that was not on at the same time. I'm losing words today. I think I've seen every NFC East game that was on at a time that the Eagles weren't playing. All right, there we go. I solved the sentence. I saw a lot of the Cowboys, a lot of the Redskins, and yes, I've seen a lot of the Giants. And this Giants team, I was afraid of them going in the year. I'm like, shit. They got Brandon Marshall. They had a great defense last year. They had Damon Harrison stopping every run. That's why they swept the Cowboys last year when they had Zeke. That's why they won 11 games. And, they won that little 6-game winning streak in the middle of the season. I'm like, this team has more weapons. They're going to be a good team. I'm going to put them as a threat to the NFC. That team was going to win the division. It was going to be a lot like, last year. And I knew if that team didn't show up and perform well, I knew that opened the door for the Eagles because, I thought thought we were the second best team in the NFC East. Turns out I'm dead wrong. And, we are the best team in the NFC, if not the best team in the league. Wentz or not, we are the best team in the league. I'll say we are the best team in the league, Wentz or not. But back to the Giants. You look at this New York team. You go game by game. The first 5 games when they went 0-5, 0-6. They were just in complete disarray. You look at, and then the preseason, that GM, Jerry Reese, did not address their problems. They had a lot of issues with the offensive line with Eric Flowers. Odell Beckham had that injury against the Browns. They rushed him back. Look what happens. When they rushed him back, he gets hurt again in the Chargers game, and he's out for the season. 2 other receivers, their 2 best receivers, were out for most of the season. One was out for the season, which was Marshall. He was out for the year. Shepard out for most of the season. Eli Manning is having a lot of, he's having having his issues, because the guy has no protection and no receiver in the receiving core. So he had a lot of his problems. And then, you fast forward to a couple weeks ago when they decided to bench Eli, and because, they which wasn't right. You want to bench a quarterback that won you 2 Super Bowls and kind of save your job in Jerry Reese's case. But that's when you knew that. I mean, that team was just, they are just so fucked up. They're so fucked up. I mean, they planned their offense was really based on Odell. We know now. We know 100% now that their offense was based on Odell, given the fact that they rushed him back from that injury in that preseason game against the Browns. And the fact that they can't do anything on offense. They did something on offense. They did things on offense. They actually moved the football. When you look back to the Week 3 game, when Eli was running those quick passes to Beckham, to Shepard, to Marshall, and I know for most of the game they were kind of out of it. But then you go to the fourth quarter when the Giants scored 21 unanswered points. I mean, they really moved the football. Actually, they did move the football a little bit in the first half, but that's how they kind of planned their offense, and it worked for them. So that team was in complete disarray. They are just so messed up right now. They are just so messed up. So now, this team, they put Eli back at quarterback. Their interim head coach is their defensive coordinator. Is the defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. Their defense, they play good, but their offense doesn't help them out. But they're not. I'm not praising them. They're strong. I mean, they've had a lot of issues. Don't get me wrong, the defense, but it's a better. They're playing better than the offense. Well, if you want to look at that team. It's not a defense that you trust. I mean, so, I mean, you got to take a look at what that, defense can do. I mean, they did have a very good they probably had the number 1 overall defense last year, but, they're still pretty good, but, they're not elite like they were last year. So you look at that. You look at the complete mess that's the New York Giants. Then you look at the Eagles. We all know what, we all know the situation we're in. We just lost our quarterback. But the thing is, we are a complete team. We have a good, you look at Nick Foles' team from 2013. You look at Nick Foles' team now. 2013, all right, the receivers where I give that an equal because Nick Foles did have Deshaun and Macklin and who else? I'm trying to think. I think was Zavon on that team. I don't know, but he did have a pretty good receiving core. Now, and I think Ertz was Ertz's second year. I think, I don't know. Now you have, I feel like we have more playmakers though. Let me backtrack a minute. The receiving core then, I think they had explosive playmakers like Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Macklin. Jackson, they used to throw, and now, you have guys that I feel like now, you have guys that can to move, I feel like you have a guy for every down. Like Nelson Aguilar is your third down guy. Jeffrey's like your red zone receiver. Ertz is like your inside the 5-yard line receiver. Matt Collins. Yeah, I that's what Torrey Smith's your deep ball guy. Just lost my pen. That's I don't know. But I'd probably give the receiving core a tie. The running backs, back then, we obviously had Shady. He was our back. Now, that was just it. That was just Shady. That was our running game back then. Now we have a broader, running. We have guys like Blunt, Ajayi, Clement. That can, you could sub in. One guy can run. You can sub him in with fresh legs. I feel like we have a better running back core now. Obviously, because to be honest, I'd rather have the three-way tandem of Ajayi, Blunt, and Clement than just Shady. I think anybody would, because you can sub in. It'd just be more of an explosive running game. Because you have two guys in there that can just pound it with Blunt and Ajayi. Clement, he's like your speed guy. Your shifty runner. Shady was kind of all that. We all know how he played. So that's where I kind of rank that. Defense, obviously we have a better defense now. So Nick Foles really has a better team than he did in 2013. He looked good. He looked good playing against the Rams when he went to play, when he went into the game. He led 2 field goal drives. Did he get a touchdown? But I feel like he needs to be a little bit quicker getting the ball out. I will say that. But other than that, I think he's in a good spot. I think we're still a contender. I think we are in it. Look, this could be worse. We could have been left off with a quarterback like Matt McGloin, like Mark Sanchez, like, Broncos are just having their issues right now. Trevor Siemian just went out for the year. Paxton Lynch was hurt. Now they have to go to Brock Osweiler, who, he actually looked pretty good. The Colts are in the same situation, the team that they played last night. Jacoby Brissett is their quarterback, and, he's having issues. I feel like we are in good hands with Nick Foles. People, I've been hearing people compare this team this year, the Eagles team this year, to the Raiders team of last year. The difference between the Eagles and the Raiders from 2016 and the Eagles from 2017 is the Eagles have a better backup quarterback. And, I think Nick Foles, if you trade him to any of these teams, they will gladly take him. So, this is a guy worthy of starting in the, he's quarterback in the league compared to what the Raiders had to do last year with Matt McGloin, he just sucks. We know how he was here. So, the Matt McGloin stuff for the Raiders, but whoever the backup quarterback was, it was just horrible. Same thing with Texans. They have to deal with Tom Savage. He's just shit. He only throws to Hopkins, which is not a bad thing, but I feel like he doesn't use a lot of his receivers, which makes it easy for the defense. They can just double team Hopkins and boom. See, that's different. So I like how we kind of ease into the playoffs. With these 3 games and with Nick Foles, we have the Giants this weekend. Bad team. They have a lot of problems, baggage. We could beat them. Then we come back home to play a Christmas game against the Raiders, having their own problems. Trying to fight for a playoff spot. We're at home Christmas. Derek Carr plays bad in the cold. We have the best running defense. So we pretty much put the Raiders in a trap on Christmas. It's supposed to sleet on Christmas, too, Christmas night. And then, we come back home to play a Week 17 game against the Cowboys. I mean, I need a starter button, or, I cannot talk today. I can never talk in these podcasts. But anyway, we kind of wrap up the regular season against Dallas Cowboys. They'll be, with Zeke Elliott, with, their guys. So they'll be wanting to get one from us, trying to beat us up a little bit before the playoffs. But hopefully we can get them. And then hopefully, in that case, we'll definitely have a first round bye. Hopefully, we'll get the number 1 seed. So I mean, yeah, we just gotta hope the Vikings lose, and that's that. Vikings. There's another team at the backup quarterback, and look what they're doing. So, yeah. So, players that I like to see this team. I like to. Yeah. I Jesus Christ, I cannot talk. Players that are key to this game on both sides. I'm just on here too. That I like to mention. That's both coaches. Doug Peterson Steve Spagnuolo. I want to see if Doug Peterson uses the run game type of plays he will run. I'd like to see him, run, obviously blown up the middle. Ajayi, you could probably run him both ways. Clement, obviously, run him to the outside. You got to be careful of Damon Harrison. That's another player on the New York Giants to watch. Very good run stopper. They call him Snacks. Very good run stopper for this team, for the Giants last year. That's why like I said, they swept the Cowboys. They kind of shut down their running game. But Doug Peterson's going to definitely have to use the running game tonight, Sunday. Zach Ertz is returning, so keep an eye out on him, see what he does. Obviously, Nick Foles, I mean, that's just a given. See how he plays in a full game with this team. We know what we're getting, but we don't know what we're getting with Nick Foles. He did not play in the preseason. He did come in to close out a couple games. He didn't really throw the ball until he didn't get his first pass attempt until he didn't get his first pass attempt till the Bears game, but he did come in to close out the Cardinals game, if I'm not mistaken. So we know what we're getting with Nick Foles based on how he performed with us in his first stint in Philadelphia. We don't know what we're getting with Nick Foles because he hasn't, he hasn't really played much this season other than going in to finish out those games and finishing out 3 or 4 games. So we're going to see him in a full game against a bad team. So this is a perfect challenge for Nick Foles, just to get his feet wet, to start playing well, and to move forward as we get towards the playoff. Obviously, the 2 running backs, Blount and Ajayi, 2 guys that they're going to really have to use that kind of connection to Doug Peterson, seeing where he runs them, when he runs them in specific situations, what backs he will put out. Blount, short yardage. Ajayi, you could probably throw him in a 3rd and 5, or not on 3rd and 5, but like 5 yards, that type of thing. Clement, so just see where he runs those guys in those situations. This team, I doubt, will probably be as pass happy as they have been. Since obviously with the change of quarterback, and the fact that they've kind of been, I don't want to say wasting these guys, but hopefully this will be a positive thing to come out of the Wentz injury, to see how good our backs are. Which I think our backs are really good. I mean, obviously, I think our backs are really good. So hopefully we get a good good mix of these running backs. The Giants. I want to watch how Eli Manning plays. This guy. He knows his team. He knows the ins and outs. So it's always you can't count Eli Manning out. Obviously given the situation, but you can't get him. You can't count him out. He's a good player. Evan Ingram has been a very good tight end for the Giants. He's probably one of the only positives. He's him and Shepard. Eli's probably two big targets in this game. Giants are also going to run the ball with Gallman and Darkwa as well. They did run the ball against the Cowboys. So keep an eye out for the Giants running game. But, given the fact that the Eagles have a very good run defense, that will probably not be a factor. I think if the Eagles, they just obviously have to shut down the running game. The Giants, I'm trying to find some numbers here. They ran the ball a lot against the Cowboys. It worked for them a little bit. They didn't stick to it. So let's see. I just want to see team statistics. So if the Eagles shut down the Giants run game, that's not the game I want. Team statistics. Giants rush yard against Cowboys. High days good.
Okay, we go on to halftime.
All right, I can't find it, but they did run the ball. From watching that game on Sunday, when they ran the ball, they had a lot of success. But I think the Eagles take that out. They'll make Eli throw the ball, and we all know with Eli Manning, he can make plays, but at the same time, he's very vulnerable. If you put pressure on him, he will collapse. I mean, that's just how he is. He doesn't want to be injured. As we know, he's that type of guy. He will either throw the ball away or, just fall down for a sack or a loss. And then, we got Steve Spagnuolo. He's obviously trying to get himself into the conversation for being the Giants head coach. That's just a guy that, I just wanted to point out. He's going to be coaching for a job here. He wants to, they're kind of, I think they're mad that they let one go against the Cowboys at home. And, I think they're playing. They were supposed to play 3 straight weeks, 3 NFC's teams at home. Us. Last week was the Cowboys. Next week's going to be the Redskins. So they want to get beat up the NFC's on their way out of their miserable season. And if Spagnuolo can win this game and then next week's game, and then the season finale, he will be very much in the consideration for a job. And this is a guy that's, he's been in that organization. He won the Super Bowl back in 2007 with them, with Michael Strahan. He used to blitzed the hell out of the Patriots in that game with Michael Strahan and those guys. I think Blackburn was the one guy. I don't know. But he was the big reason why the Giants won the Super Bowl that year with, their defense, and then obviously coming back last year, putting together a good defense. So yeah, he's going to be a big topic conversation going into next season. If the Giants can pull out these 3 games or 2 of these 3 games, if they win the division games, I think he will be very well in the mix. Even if they probably don't win these next 3 games, I think he can make a pretty good case for being the next head coach of the Giants. So, yeah. So we'll be moving on to picks. I don't know if I'm going to get to the Sixers. So we will be moving on to the NFL picks. By the way, it's bowl season, ladies and gentlemen. Bowl season is coming up. You know, we got the ship bowls to start us off, and then you know, we move. You know, the more, you know, the later we get, a couple weeks, you know, go by, you know, some bowls. There will be better bowl games. You know, obviously the New Year's Six, Penn State's going to be featured in one. The Fiesta Bowl playing against Washington. Notre Dame is going to be playing LSU. That's going to be a very good game. And you got the Final Four. So I mean, you know, this is going to be a very good time. Or, you know, the bowl games are going to be very good this year is what I'm trying to say. I cannot talk. So anyway, the Thursday night game was played last night. Broncos beat the Colts. So yeah. This is also the first week of Saturday games in the NFL. Games played on Saturday nights, given the fact that the college regular season is officially over, and move forward towards bowl games. So Bears and Lions divisional matchup. I got Detroit, Chicago. You know, they played a very good game against the Bengals. You know, they beat up on them pretty good. The Lions, you know, they want to get the wild card spot. And I really want to see the Lions win this game because, you know, the Packers get Aaron Rodgers back. I do not want to see that team in the playoffs. The Packers win the Packers win out, and the Lions drop at least 2 games. The Packers will retain that number 2 spot, and plus they'll get into the wild card. So I got the Lions beating the Bears. Are playing at home. Chargers, Chiefs. I got that's a very good game. Kansas City's home. Chargers are very hot. It's going to come down the wire. It's a primetime game on Saturday. I'm going to pick Kansas City. Played a great game last week against the Raiders. It's almost like they came back to life, back to that week 1 through 4, 5, 6 feel. Or form, I should say, back to that week 1 through 6 form. So I got Kansas City eking that game out. I think they kicked a game-winning field goal, Bucker, to win that game. Bengals, Vikings, I got Minnesota. You know, they're going to win that game. Arizona, the Redskins, they're playing at home. Jets, Saints, Jets without Josh McCown. I got the Saints running all over them. I don't know what Kamara's status is, but I got the Saints still running all over them. They can, you know, Breeze. You know, he's not been the passer. That Saints are so. I think they rely so much on their running game, as we know. I mean, with the two-headed monster with Kamara and Ingram. But they're going to use. I mean, you know, they're playing the Jets. They're at home. I get the Saints in that game. Texans, Jags. You know, Tom Savage. You know, he's just. I don't know why. I just hate Tom Savage because I had Will Fuller this season in fantasy, and you know, I had him with Watson and Fuller. It was and Lamar Miller. It was great. You know, they won a couple games for me. It was nice to see. Nice having those 3 guys. Before Watson went down with the ACL injury, I put up 176. I blew out my opponent, and it was awesome. Then I get that news that Thursday Watson went down, and you know, I kept Fuller in for another week. Savage did not throw. He only targeted him 4 times. I was so pissed off. So that was that. But I got the Jags winning this game. They're at home. 49ers, Titans. That's 49ers with Jimmy G. I mean, you know, I think they give the Titans a run for the money, but I think Tennessee pulls away. Sunday Night Football. I will hold off. And I'll hold off on that. Hold off on the big games. Rams, Seahawks in Seattle. LA's coming off a loss. Seattle's coming off a loss. That's a good game. I don't know why that's not prime time. That's a 4:05 game. I have no clue why that's not prime time, but it isn't. So I will pick. Is that America's Game of the Week? No. Is that America's Game of the Week? I don't know. You never know with Fox. But it's Rams Seahawks. It could be prime time. I mean, it's just I see it as 4:05. But I will pick Seattle eking the game out. There's a lot of close games. This is not the week to bet on NFL football, ladies and gentlemen. I will pick the Seattle Seahawks eking the game out. Eking it out. Another game to not bet on. Dolphins Bills. Buffalo this week in the snow. They're at home again. It's probably going to be another snow game. They're playing Miami. Yeah, you might want to. Yeah, I take that back. You might want to bet on this game. And I will pick the Buffalo Bills. Going on a little bit of win streak. 2 games. Green Bay, Carolina. Not a betting game. Green Bay getting Aaron Rodgers back. Carolina playing at home, playing decent football. They did beat the second seed, the team that's in line for the second seed, and the Vikings. They're back at home playing Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers will be very rusty. I don't think he will be. I think he'll be a little bit rusty. Rusty is what I'm trying to say. They're playing a good team, so I'm going to pick Carolina. Ravens, Browns. That's easy. Baltimore. I think Baltimore only wins by maybe 10 points because of Josh Gordon. Browns played a very close game against the Packers last week, maybe even too close in overtime. They were very close to getting their first win, but I think the Browns will get their first win next week against the Bears. I know the Bears did put up 33 against the Bengals and beat them pretty easily, but I think that's when the Browns get their first win. Eagles pick. Eagles, Giants, easy. I don't want to say this is easy. It's a rivalry game, Eagles, Giants. A lot of I'll do the Eagles pick last. Patriots, Steelers, the 3 big games before the Eagles pick. Patriots, Steelers, which is probably the game I'm looking forward to the most, other than the Eagles, obviously. Falcons, Bucks, Monday night, and Cowboys, Raiders, Sunday night. Start with the Monday night game with the Falcons and the Bucks. That's going to be easy, Atlanta. Cowboys, Raiders, that's actually a pretty good game on paper. The Cowboys, they've won the last couple games. They've looked good, but they beat two bad NFC East teams, Redskins and the Giants. The Raiders, they're coming off a bad loss to a division rival in Kansas City. But it's going to come down to the running game. Marshawn Lynch is a better running back. Derek Carr's, he's playing at home. They're back in the black hole. So I'm going to pick the Raiders in this game. Now we get to the game of the week. Patriots, Steelers. This is a rivalry. This is 2 elite teams. 2 teams you always see playing in this type of game. 4:25 on Fox at Heinz Field. This is a game that I feel like I see every season. Almost, I see these teams in this slide playing the 4:25 game or some type of primetime, big time football game all the time. New England, very good. Pittsburgh, very good. This is a big playoff implication game. Well, it's not big. It's big for seeding, and it's big for how strong these teams are. the Patriots going to Heinz Field to play the Steelers. I mean, the Patriots are good. I mean, they're good at playing at Heinz Field. You look at the Patriots in the beginning of the season, it was like, okay, this team's vulnerable this year. This is not the same Patriots. They're not winning every week. They've lost 2 games in Foxborough, opening night and then the game to Carolina. So this is not the same team. Same thing with the Steelers. They lose to the Bears in week 3, and then they lose to the Jags. They got killed by the Jags at Heinz Field. So you're like, these teams are not going to be the same teams that we're used to seeing from these. These are not going to be the same old Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is not going to be the same old New England Patriots. But then as the season progressed, you saw the same old New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers as the season moved on. You saw Brady just light up the scoreboard. You saw in New England, you saw in Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, and Antonio Brown just do their thing, steamroll the AFC North. Now it comes down to one game at Heinz Field, 425. Let me guess. CBS. Let me guess. I feel like this is you know what's going to happen. And by you know what's going to happen, Pittsburgh's going to play a close game, but then it's going to, at the end, you're going to see New England ahead on the scoreboard, and that's who I'm going to pick in this game. I picked the Patriots by a touchdown. I picked them by a touchdown. I think, it's going to be an offensive show. It's going to be like Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, that high-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be as high. I mean, listen, this is the NFL. You have some defense. Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin are defensive coaches. So, it's going to be a little bit of a scoring affair. Now we got our Birds going up to MetLife, obviously, playing the Giants. Eagles are going to win this game by at least 10. This is just an easy pick. The Eagles are just, we're just a better team, even with Nick Foles. But I think we'll win this game either way. Whether Nick Foles plays good or bad, I think we'll still win. We got too many playmakers compared to the Giants. They don't have a lot. So that's where I'm at with that game. So, yeah. So, I'm just going to put a wrap on today. 7 minutes. An hour. We got an hour in. I'm very happy that I was able to do a podcast today. Very happy. That I was able to, really just do this today. It's the first podcast in a few weeks. One every week. Come Wednesday, we'll be doing a podcast previewing the Oakland Raiders Wednesday or Thursday. Look out for one. I'll be talking about the Eagles-Giants game this weekend, somehow, some way, some shape or form. So just keep in tuned. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon. So thanks.